at your age.
Yeah, me too.
The break comments and
I don't trust the other one because he's.
So I will go. Meeting will come to order, October 9, 2003, 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cook.
Here.
Councilman Cooper.
Here.
Councilwoman Mazer.
Here.
Councilman Rodriguez.
He's here.
Council President Sedekase.
Here. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members on October 3rd, 2003, to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. I'm not sure, Sister Michelle, are you waiting on?
A couple of assistants.
Okay, so maybe we can hold off on the presentation. All right, can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to be heard?
Mike Hanley, 86 Bell Avenue. This is my last opportunity to bring up the flood problem again. As I mentioned in our last meeting, I wanted to take this last opportunity to remind the voters that on the November ballot will be a bond issue question for the state of New Jersey. $200 million bond issue, $25 million of which will go to Bergen County to improve the drainage and flood condition. I don't want to mislead anyone that this $25 million is going to alleviate our problem. It's not. I want to be right up front and be honest enough with you to tell you we need a lot more than $25 million. But it's a start, and it's a very, very good start, and I'm asking all the good people in the township of Saddle Brook to please help us who suffered the last flood under Tropical Storm Floyd. Please approve this to get us on the right track to get an ultimate solution to this terrible flood situation that takes there every time it rains. But one other question I do have, I don't know whether you can answer this for me or not. 2 days ago, we received a letter at our home signed by Jim McGreevy, our governor, and also signed by Susan Bass Levin, the Commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs in Trenton, saying that the township was going to get $400,000 in additional property relief. Is this the fourth $100,000 we already got?
Yes, the 400,000 discretionary aid.
You know, this is very, very misleading. I hate to say it, folks, but what are the Democrats doing here? I mean, we were here 2 months ago and took photographs of the check with Senator Coniglio, and it was in the shopper, and it was all over the place. And here we are 2 months later getting a letter that says we're gonna get $400,000 in additional property relief. Is this only because of the elections coming up, or is this, what is this?
It could be,
I don't
we got
get
one
this.
2 weeks before that said we got 200,000, and then they corrected it, and they sent another one out for 400.
So
And
is
before
this-
you know it, there may be another one saying we made another mistake, and it's 600.
Is this, am I to assume this is just politics at its
It
best?
must be.
We can't answer for the state, Mr. Hanley.
No,
You know. I don't know exactly
I know,
what
but
happened. There were two
all I'm bringing to your attention is, and to the municipality's attention is, you know, some people in town think this is an additional $400,000.
So did I.
You know, I had some folks ask me the other day, how are we gonna get a rebate? Since our tax bills have already come out, how are we gonna get a rebate? And I said, don't count on a rebate, because I don't even know if this is the $400,000 check that we were talking about here 2 months ago.
If you notice, Mr. Hanley, that was also sent to your wife, not to you.
That's
It
correct.
was sent to my wife and not to me also.
That's correct. You know, I hate to say it, folks, but this is politics. You know, there was a lot of hassle over the do not call list. 50 million people in this country signed up for the please do not call list.
Never been.
This stuff keeps up, and you're gonna have a do not send list, in my opinion, because this is bull. This is outrageous, to send this kind of stuff to mislead people that they think their taxes are going to go down because they get another 400,000. I don't know what you can do about it, or if you have any intention of doing anything. This is just flagrant misleading the public. Get off of that. I'm happy to hear tonight the microphone situation has maybe not been resolved, but certainly improved. That's significant. And I hope it continues that way because, like I said to you at 1 or 2 meetings before this, it's a shame that these people are volunteering their time, editing the tape, and then the public watches it and they can't hear what you're saying.
You know, I do recall, Mr. Stanley, you have mentioned that quite a few times about.
Quite a few times,
I don't know,
yeah.
I find here.
So I hope it's corrected. We'll see as
See that.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Chair, they worked on it about an hour and a half before the meeting started, and we have a new cable line on this
Yeah.
particular one.
Yeah, well, that's a car.
But they did find that the levels on in the amplifier were, some were set too low and some were set too high. That's why you heard me coughing so much when
Yeah,
I
you
coughed and
almost blew
blasted
the
you.
speakers right off my TV. It was unbelievable.
Through the chair, if I could just add to that, Cablevision was at the studio also. There was a drop in feed to the studio, which we rectified, thanks to Mr. Shaw from Cablevision. So that was taken care of. That enhanced the bad audio also, so we're looking to improve the feed to the studio as well as the microphone system here.
Good, great. I'm gonna get off, but before I do, I just want to congratulate Sister Michelle. Congratulations. You don't know how proud we all are in town of you and all the good years you put into the school. My children went through you, and they all turned out pretty good. I'm so pleased to see you're on the agenda. God bless you. Many more good years. Thank you.
Mr. Michelle, are you ready?
If I may indulge, yes. Sister Michelle, if you can just join me up here, we can go right to the center. It's very important to us, the number of years you served at St. Philip's School, that you still serve at the St. Philip's. You educated many, many students, not only educationally, but spiritually. I know my children have gone through your school and with you. And it's an honor for me to be here to present to you a proclamation on behalf of the township. And I want to read it because it's so very important that I do. And it says, whereas Sister Mary Michelle has served our community faithfully as principal of St. Philip's Parochial School, appointed in 1975, Sister Michelle would bring her wealth of experience and an extraordinary depth of caring to serve numerous students who attended St. Philip's. And whereas Sister Michelle graduated from St. Michael's in Jersey City in 1956 and received her BS in education from the St. Elizabeth College, advancing her educational horizons, Sister Michelle received her master's in administration from Fairfield University. Sister Michelle relocated to our community in 1962 to assume the position of 8th grade teacher at St. Philip's. Her devotion to the students as well is well known and was evidenced by the love and respect all who hold for her. a positive role model with sterling qualities of honesty, loyalty, and integrity make her a priceless educator. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Louis V. D'Arminio, Mayor of the Township of Saddle Brook, hereby commend Sister Mary Michelle for her tireless devotion to the youth of the Township of Saddle Brook and thank her for all her contributions she has offered to our community. Congratulations. And Sister, as a token, we also have this little gift for you from the Township of Saddle Brook. And thank you so much. Would you like to say something? I hope.
I'd just like to say I'm totally overwhelmed. I got the letter a week ago and I'm thinking, what is this letter all about? And then I called Flo to tell her that we could come and a few of us would be able to make it. But I had no clue what was going to happen tonight. I came here totally unaware of any of the events that would take place, and I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. This is really a great honor for me, but an honor for our school, and my brother is here and my community. The sisters are here representing the Sisters of Charity, and I thank you for your loyalty to me and your wonderful, wonderful gift of your allegiance and your friendship all these years. And I want to thank the mayor for doing this and all the council members as well. God bless you.
Thank you, Sister. All right, I'd like to introduce Councilwoman Florence Mazer also.
No need to introduce me to her. I work alongside Sister Michelle for many, many years and also as Homeschool Association President. So I know personally, firsthand, the dedication that you, and the heart that you put into that school. Without getting too emotional, I know how tough it is that St. Philip's closed, and we all feel it. And on behalf of my colleagues and myself and the community, I'd like to read this resolution to you. Whereas Sister Mary Michelle Krogan answered God's calling and chose her vocation as a member of the Sisters of Charity, serving over 50 years. And whereas during Sister Michelle's tenure at St. Philip the Apostle School, she faithfully nurtured her many students as teacher and served as principal for over 25 years. And whereas since being welcomed to Saddle Brook in 1962, Sister Michelle has been recognized by the Township during Women in History Month for her contribution in educating our youth, served the parish as Eucharistic minister, and has witnessed many of her former students actively participating and giving back to their church and community. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that Sister Mary Michelle Krogan is hereby recognized for her many years of service to the children of Saddle Brook and expresses its sincere thanks on behalf of a grateful community. And signed by the entire council. Sister Mary.
Thank you, Sister Michelle.
Sister Michelle, you're not going to leave here until I say something. Some people may not like it, but first of all, I want to say God has given you a good life. and he's giving you the privilege to break up a couple of cars when they bounce off your body. But I really, from the heart, I want to sincerely thank you that you took care of my 2 kids. And my 2 kids today are where I say they should be. But Eddie needs more help. And now that you're in St. Joe's, please, bust him up as much as you can, because he needs some help, and sister, you're the guy to do it. Thank you, and may God bless you. And not your retirement, because I don't want to ever see you retire. No? And don't wreck any more cars, please, sister.
Sister Michelle, I would also like to wish you all the best in your new position, and we will miss you in this community. And I understand you went to St. Michael's, Jersey City. Well, I was at St. Michael's, Union City. So, all the best to you.
Sister Michelle, I would just like to extend my best wishes to you. Thank you for all the years of good service and good things that you've done for the community. I don't know if you'll ever know how much this township appreciates what you really do for us. Thank you, and God bless you. Yes.
I've had the privilege of working with the Sisters of Charity for over 25 years. I've been privileged, and Saddle Brook has been privileged to have Sister Michelle and the Sisters of Charity here in Saddle Brook. We've done a lot for this township, a lot for the students at St. Philip's, and we'll always remember those fond memories. Thank you, Sister.
Sister, the school is going to be missed, especially school children, but they will have good memories about you and all the good things that you have done over the years to this community. Thank you for that job.
Thank you, sister. Okay, we'll continue the open part of the meeting. Anyone wishing to be heard? Yes.
Nancy DePalma, 588 Pine Avenue. I'm reading in the minutes for tonight's meeting that you are second reading on an ordinance for taking over the cable television station. And are they doing such a bad job that you have to take it over? I'm not so sure that that might not be a bad thing to do at this point in time. The TV station is well received by the people who are watching it. The children are watching it. I can attest that my children are watching it and their friends because they say, I saw your mom on TV again. I'm not so sure that taking it from a non-political arena and putting it back into a political arena is the right thing. If they were doing a bad job at it, I'd say, sure, consider it. But they're not. Everyone seems to be pleased. It needs a little bit more money. Yeah, it needs a little bit more funding. But it could do better, sure. But I think it's showing all the educational programs. It's showing the sports, the programs that the schools are doing. And I don't think you should be taking it away from a body that's doing a good job with it unless there's another motive for it.
Nancy, if I could just comment. If you recall, I fought to make sure that sports would be filmed and so they'd have equal share, not just political council meetings, that all the kids, soccer, football, baseball, what have you, whatever it was, wrestling. I've looked through this ordinance, and sometimes we hear through public rumors that something's being done, and it's not true. I don't read in this ordinance where we're taking it back. It's a Cablevision contract it's up for renewal, and that's what we're voting on tonight. I'm not voting to give it back or take it.
Who will be in control of the cable television? Who will be controlling it? Is the Board of Education still going to be controlling it when this ordinance is passed?
As far as I know, yes, they run the station right now. I mean, I don't see anywhere in here where it says we're going to run it day to day. They have a director that runs it. I don't see
And it
any
will
changes.
still fall under the auspices of the Board of Education. If you have a question or a concern, you can go to the Board of Education meeting to question them on the programming or the lack of programming, or it will still fall under the Board of Education.
That's my understanding of this ordinance. I don't see anything in the ordinance where that's going to change.
Perhaps I can add some light to this. First of all, your information is wrong.
That's
The
what I'm
ordinance,
gonna check on.
let me just explain what this ordinance is about. This ordinance is to renew our franchise. It's a 10-year renewal. And what that does, in addition to that, the mayor has certain responsibilities of the community. He's in charge of the buildings and grounds, regardless of who the mayor is. In 2000, when I was council president, I incorporated the Board of Education to participate in our SBC TV programming. I was one of the advocates for that. I fought for the Board of Education to be a part of that as the council president at the time. I worked very well with Mr. Groveman and Mr. Duenthaler, who is the person in charge of the SBC TV. I hear these rumors too, but I'm here to tell you that whatever I do as the mayor of this township is for the whole township. And I represent everyone as a whole. I'm looking to advance SBC TV. I'm also looking to enhance the equipment of SBC TV. I've had the director there in my office as recently as, I believe it was this week. I might be wrong with my day, but it was this week, to go over many items that we're looking to do. I think he does do a good job. I think there are problems with the cable stations feed as we corrected. The microphones, I have him now researching newer microphones for our board. So I don't know where everyone gets off thinking that I, as the mayor, taking over a SBC TV station, because I enjoy those football games myself. I attend them. That's not my goal. I'm here to make the SBC TV station a much better station so that all the people of Saddle Brook can hear us, can watch us, and perhaps maybe we'll get SBC TV into a Board of Education meeting so that they can see what the Board of Education meetings are about. So my position, and what this ordinance is a renewal. It gives a senior citizen discount. It gives us $12,000 in grant money, plus the training of a student, a resident, who may want to participate in SBC TV. The studio is located in a Board of Education facility. What was political was last year's bantering back and forth with the SBC TV. We ended that January 1. This council as a whole has worked good together since January 1. I may not agree with everything we do, but we try our best, and it's working out real well. So if the thought is, or if the rumor is, that Mayor Lou Darminio wants to take over that SBC TV station, it's far-fetched. Whatever I do, and I will repeat, will be for the best interest of this community. It will be first class and enhanced. And I assure you of that.
So if I, just to make me clear and everyone else who's, I'm hearing this from, so we are all clear, we will still be able to go to the Board of Education and discuss any of the issues with the SBCT.
Well, here's,
programs that are on.
yeah, you
Will
can.
fall under them? No.
No, you can't. Well, in essence, she's right, but she's not. The Buildings and Grounds comes under the Office of the Mayor. As I said before, we are in charge of our buildings and grounds and our equipment. And the SBC TV station is township owned, not Board of Education run. The contract is between the between the township and the Cablevision. That's who the Cablevision negotiates with, not the Board of Education. I told this to Mr. Duenthaler, and again, I must say it again, I look forward to the Board of Education's participation in SBC TV. Always have. Never was opposed to the Board of Education participating. But there are times when the township will need to utilize that studio. We did have to utilize that studio for an Amber Alert we had in February. We were unable to get to that studio, so we're going to make arrangements with the Board of Education to gain access to that studio when we need to. We did have a situation when the war broke out. I think you saw a scroll across the SBC TV for our residents, specifically for our residents who were concerned about if we had an emergency plan, should something happen in the township, and I wanted to assure the residents that we did. So we had to gain access to that station through the Board of Education. I think a little more cooperation needs to be had, or a little more understanding needs to be looked at with the Board of Education and the township when the chief of police needs to gain access to that station for an emergency broadcast or for a bulletin board to let people know specifically what's taking place in the township. So they can go to the Board of Education, because Mr. Groveman and I speak about that, and complain or make a request, and they also can come to my office also. because I'm in contact with Mr. Dulenthaler, because I'm here 24 hours a day, just about 7 days a week. There's always access for me here at the office.
So the TV director, Mr. Dulthayer, will report to,
There's nothing going to change.
he reports to the Board of Education now, I believe.
He's paid by the Board of Education, yes.
That's all I'm asking.
Mhm. Yes.
Anyone else?
Oh, yeah. Dennis Gerber, 36 Catherine Avenue. I also happen to be president of the Saddle Brook Board of Education. I am very delighted to hear that, Mayor Dearman, that things will not change, because I want to assure all of my people in the school system that they can still see children, as well as sports, as well as educational material, as well as council meetings, as well as your speaking, and I don't think we've ever denied you any time whatsoever. My problem is very simple. Mr. Dulenthaler works for the Board of Education. Who does he report to? I want to know exactly who he reports to. Is he reporting to you, or is he reporting to the Board of Education?
I think that's something that maybe perhaps if you would want to sit in my office at some point in time, we can work that out. The way it's operating right now is fine with me, because quite honestly, if I ask him to do something in the community or something happens in the community, it's well received and taken care of. So maybe perhaps we can sit together, and if you have any questions or doubts, we can deal with it. Pretty much nothing's going to change, so I don't know what the concern is.
Well, the concern is on page 8 of this ordinance, specifically gives you the authority to run the station. After this ordinance is passed this evening, because I am sure it's going to be, then it's going to become a political issue. And that's what we don't want, because you and I both know that's how it started out. And I think over the last year, we have not made it political.
I think you're making it political now by making these comments, and I think that because it was, and let me finish. I think what you don't understand, and you do, I know you do understand, there's a difference between municipal government and Board of Education government. There's a separation of powers. The Cablevision doesn't negotiate with the Board of Education. If the Board of Education wants their own TV station and their own channel, they may apply with the Cablevision to do that. I don't know what the hoopla is all about, because you were part of that hoopla during the last administration. And as board president, I have asked you from January to present for a lease. I've asked you for a key, and we were denied both. Now, as mayor of this community, I run, or the mayor's office, regardless of who that mayor is in charge of the buildings and grounds. The TV station comes under the auspices of the township. And again, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but let me say it again. Nothing as it appears on SBC TV today is going to change, except maybe the quality and the quantity of what goes on in that station. I can't be any clearer than that. And yes, page 8 of this puts the mayor's office in charge of the station. That's what this government is about. And whoever that mayor is will have that same clause in it for the next 10 years.
And I will answer you by the comment concerning the lease and the key. We're waiting for your attorney, as you are the leasee, to give us the lease. We have never denied. This is public.
Yeah, but I think now we're bantering, negotiated. I don't think that this is the public forum to talk about leases, talk about keys. But it's what is the fact. I think we have Mr. Shaw here who can add to what Cablevision can do and what they do and make it very clear. I can't make it any clearer. I've said it, I'm just repeating ourselves, and I would be glad to sit with you in my office and we can discuss any fine tuning that needs to be done.
And I have asked Mr. Shaw, because I deal with him on a different level from where I work. You must, as the council, authorize us to have a station. We cannot go to Mr. Shaw and ask for one. Am I correct, Mr. Shaw, through the chair?
Is it not that we have
No,
to?
actually, no, we can't have,
Well,
cost
we
discussion.
made a
Let
statement.
him get
I
up.
want to make
I'll have
sure.
him come up to the podium,
Okay.
Dennis, and then.
If that's the case, that's fine. If we could do it on our own, then that's something maybe we should think about.
Right, okay.
I think it's duplication of services, but however.
Well, isn't that what you're saying is political? I mean, it's
No,
running
it's
good
not
right
political.
now. I think I've been in office
Would you
since
let me
January.
finish? I allowed you to finish. Can I finish, please? And I want to resolve the fact that we are willing to offer a lease. We have not gotten one. We have not gotten a lease for us to approve. You make a statement and it's incorrect.
I disagree with that, Mr. Gerber,
Why?
but certainly you, I'm not going to get into this. Certainly, the ordinance is on the agenda for tonight's vote. I've made myself perfectly clear. If you would like to meet with me in my office, you may do so. My office is open to you at any given time, and we can discuss any issue that you may have. But the fact of the matter is that the mayor's office, again, for the next 10 years, whoever that mayor may be, is in charge of buildings and grounds to this township. He is the chief administrative officer of this community, not the Board of Education. The cable station is under the auspices of the municipal government, not the Board of Education. And again, that's the way it is, whether some people like it or some people don't like it.
Well, we just don't want to, we don't want to have a war over this. And that is what, as you have told me personally, that this will turn out to be, and I don't want it to happen.
Well, again, you're misquoting, Mr. Gerber, because you had mentioned that you had a problem with one of my employees. One of my employees is no longer involved here, and I'm not going to banter back and forth. Again, my office is open to you. Mr. Shaw is here, and I would respectfully ask that. Perhaps if there's any questions, maybe Mr. Shaw can address the council.
Okay, just as far as the Cablevision ordinance, and anybody that's here tonight, like I said earlier, I read it myself, my colleagues, I believe, read it. It's a Cablevision contract. It's a Cablevision contract. I myself, the last year or so, year and a half, that was my concern, to make sure that everything was filmed. Council meetings, municipal events, and sporting events, school events, graduations, etc. I don't see anything in this ordinance that's going to change that. I'll always support that. My colleagues, I believe, will support that. It's not going to be political. It's an ordinance. As far as the lease, let Mr. Shaw, Dennis, come up to the podium. Maybe you can make some comments, please.
I have one closing comment, and as well, Mayor Giordano, my line is also open at any time, and you may reach me at the board.
Good. Right. Mr. Shaw, do you mind?
No, yet.
I guess for the record, Gary Shaw, Government Affairs Manager for Cablevision. I'll just comment on page 8 of the ordinance, and that seems to be what's driving a lot of the discussion tonight. Page 8 of the ordinance is the way it is because that is the way Cablevision awards or provides public access channels to the communities we serve. If ultimately the administration of the channel resides with the mayor, because the agreement that provides the channel is between the mayor and council on Cablevision. It has to be that way for, more than anything, for legal purposes. If anything ends up on that channel that becomes problematic, it's the mayor's office and the council that are going to have to defend a lawsuit or any issues surrounding that. It's not going to be the Board of Ed that would defend that. So in our history of our company, we've never given the administration of a public educational or government access channel to a Board of Ed unless the mayor and council have directed us to do that. And they don't anymore because of that issue, that should programming get on the channel that is inappropriate, they have to defend that, not the Board of Ed, because ultimately the channel was provided to the township. And that's why page 8 is written the way it is. But I can tell you, for your own sake at the Board of Ed, and I know you've done admirable work in putting this station on for years, in all the meetings I had with the mayor, all he advocated was how strongly he feels about SBC TV and how he wants to see that channel develop way beyond what you're doing today. A lot more. I've never heard him speak to the effect of I want it just to be government or I want it to take control of it. He wants to see the same programming as Council President said on the channel. There's never been any discussions of not having that programming. This is simply putting the administration of the channel where it should be in the mayor's office for legal reasons more than anything else. And I hope maybe that sheds some light onto it, but I've never heard any discussions of eliminating Board of Ed programming or taking censorship, so to speak, over it. It is a public, educational, and government access channel, and the mayor's office as the administrator of the channel, then it's their obligation to determine what programming is going to be there, but that hasn't even been an issue in any of our negotiations as far as what programming. It's always been the same programming that's out there today. So hopefully that clears it up a little bit for everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Guerrero? Yeah.
Victor Rivera, 590 Gray Avenue. Amazes me that the Board of Education should want to be in charge of these television sets, of television station, when they refuse to have their own meetings televised, so that people can see exactly what's going on in there. They don't want the people televised. They don't want to know what's going on. Huh?
Mr. Director, I just interject for 1 second. If you can, like, if you have a question, I don't want it like a badgering thing.
Okay,
Please.
okay. No, but it amazes me that they want to be in charge and they don't even want the meetings televised, so people can understand what's going on in there, all right? Okay. In times of plenty, in times of abundance, in times of high prosperity, we could have monkeys as president, and as governor, and as council members, and as Board of Education members. And nobody would notice, if they noticed, they wouldn't care, because when everybody has a good job, when everybody has prosperity and can pay for their mortgage and their kids' education, they can pay for their health care and everything else, waste and inefficiency become irrelevant. But we are not in a time of plenty, are we? We are not in a time of prosperity. We are in a time of fiscal crunch at all levels of government, from the federal to the state to the local level. Unfortunately, the monkeys are still in charge at all levels of government. Now we have a president here who was not elected by the people. He had 500,000 votes less than Mr. Gore. He was elected by the Supreme Court. Now you would think that this president would have the common sense and be humble enough to proceed cautiously. Now, he inherited a surplus of $300 billion. And that surplus was projected to turn into a $5 trillion surplus over 10 years. And what did he do? He turned the surplus of $300 billion into a deficit of $550 billion this year, and the same next year. That's over $1 trillion over 2 years. And that deficit is projected to turn into a $13 trillion deficit over the years, which means that my grandchildren and their grandchildren will be paying for that. See? In fact, it's projected that in about 10 years, the debt or the interest paid on the debt be so great that there will be no money for education, there will be no money for anything else, right? That's what this one president has done for us.
Mr. Guerrero, can you just maybe help get to your point?
Yeah, my point is that this president will go down in history as the most fiscally responsible president ever.
Let me put it a different way. Do you have any issues with the township?
Oh, absolutely. I think I must tell the topic go down the middle.
I hate to bring it on to us,
If
but
you think I have something bad to say about the president, what did you hear what I have to say about the governor? Okay? I'm going to skip the governor, okay, because he is in the same position as the president in Israel. So I'm going to skip it. Let me go all the way down, okay? And let me go to the waste and inefficiency at the local level, okay? Because that's what you're interested in at the end, right? Okay, that's fine by me. Okay, now, you remember that the Board of Education asked for $13 million. And one of the reasons they used for the 30 million, that if they didn't get the 13 million, they wouldn't get $5 million grant from the state. Remember that? Or from the federal government, whatever it was.
Is this about border, no, is this?
This is our local government, it doesn't matter.
No, but if,
Wait. I'm talking about waste and inefficiency. I want to show you how the people's money is being wasted in this township. All right? So now, we gave them the $30 million. They did not get the $5 million grant, which means now that they have $80 million of projects, but they only have $30 million to work with, right? Well, that wouldn't be bad enough, too bad. But what did they do with the $30 million? They put the money in the bank at 2% interest. Now, inflation is running at 2.5%, which means that they're not making any money on those 30 million, they're losing 0.5% on it. Now, if that was enough, bad enough, but it's worse than that. When the money has been in the bank, growing 2%, the cost of construction went up by 10%, all right? Which means now that...
Mr. Cabrera, with all due respect, I'm not sure what if the Board of Education is separate.
It doesn't matter, it's part of the community, and I'm just showing waste and inefficiency. I don't care whether it comes from them or from you or from anybody
But
else.
any questions you have with that budget, you have to go to the Board of Ed, and,
No.
because there's nothing, at this point, I can answer, or,
I'm just want to put on the record how inefficient and how wasteful they are. I want that on the record because they won't televise the meeting so people can know what's going on.
Mr. Chairman, please, I have to interrupt Mr. Rivera.
Okay.
Mr. Rivera, please. I don't want to insult, embarrass, or do anything, but it's getting to a point where I cannot, in good faith, sit on this council listening to complaints about a Board of Education with members in the board sitting out there, and I will criticize them for getting up and having a heated argument with you. So I can't hear your side of the story without their side of the story, and I don't care who's right. You have a right for a complaint, you go to that board. And I'm gonna ask the council at this time, if Mr. Cabrera continues to talk about the Board of Education, we should rule him out of order. And please, I don't wanna do this, Victor, right?
Okay, I understand.
But I think he's gotta be ruled out of order, and the only thing that comes before this council is municipal business. Anything that's on our agenda, or wants to criticize me personally, or anyone else here, do that. But I can't sit here and have you criticize anybody in the audience. It's not fair because I have to stop them, and I gotta stop you. Friend or foe, whatever. Please, Victor, get on track with anything that's municipal. Get off the board's back. I don't wanna hear nothing about them, or nothing about anybody in the audience, or even if they're not here, please.
All right, I put it on that. I believe I made my point that they are inefficient, that they are wasteful, and they continue to be wasteful. They've been a cesspool of waste and inefficiency over the years. Period. Okay.
right. Anyone else?
Can I just answer his charges? Okay.
It's gonna just go, you wanna continue, and then it's gonna go on and on.
I want to
You
take
have the right to come up, you know, I'm not gonna deny you. Motion to close? Second? All in favor? Aye. First ordinance, 1292-03, ordinance to amend chapter 206 of the Code of the Township of Saddle Brook entitled zoning. Motion? So moved. Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Roll call.
Mr. Cook? Mr. Kugler?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazer? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Sutherland?
Yes.
An ordinance to amend chapter 206 of the Code of the Township of Saddle Brook entitled zoning.
Motion over to public?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Anyone wishing to be heard? Motion to close?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just to comment on this ordinance, any alterations or extensions or any work you want to do on your driveway, you're gonna need a permit, but there will be no cost. It's just that we would have,
Okay.
anyone says?
Yes, if I may?
No, cost associated with the permit.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, as good as it looks, the ordinance on the driveway, and as one of the proponents of this ordinance, I would like, and I would actually encourage you to defeat it. Even though that we approve it on first reading, and it's good, but I would like to go with the, actually, I would like to take the comments and the advice from the planning board members. They haven't said that it's a bad idea, or what they just requesting is just to be touched at a different or a later time when actually we're gonna redo the master plan of the town. Therefore, then, all those issues will be addressed back then. Therefore, I believe my understanding is that these ordinance need a lot more input into this, so I will beg you actually to defeat this ordinance in second reading, even though that I will introduce on the first one, because I want to concur with the planning board, and actually we should be working together, and pretty soon, my understanding is that Mayor D'Arminio will have a committee or commission to redo the master plan in town. Thank you.
Okay. All right, motion to remove.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend Chapter 206 of the Code of the Township of Saddle Brook entitled zoning, is now passed on second and final reading, that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law. Council votes no. Ordinance is defeated.
Motion?
No motion. You can make a motion, nobody seconds, does it?
The ordinance does not pass.
Okay, ordinance 1293. Three, an ordinance granting municipal consent for the operation of a cable television system within the Township of Saddle Brook, New Jersey, Cable Division of Oakland, LLC. Motion? Second? Second. All in favor? Roll call?
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazer? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Sedekis?
Yes.
An ordinance granting municipal consent for the operation of a cable television system within the Township of Saddle Brook, New Jersey, Cable Vision of Oakland, LLC.
Motion open to read to the public? So moved. Second? All in favor? Aye. Motion to comment on this ordinance? Motion to close? So moved. Second? All in favor? Aye.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance granting municipal consent for the operation of a cable television system within the Township of Saddle Brook, New Jersey, the Cable Vision of Oakland, LLC, is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion? So moved. Second? Roll call?
Comment? I'm happy to see that you have, it's been a couple amendments to this contract, and actually we are having some input with our new ordinance about breaking the roads and repair when it's necessarily and properly done, have to be properly done according to our new ordinance. The second one, I'm happy and I'm glad to hear that actually your insurance went up. As I was looking for $1 million, so thank you very much.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazer? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Sedekis?
Yes. Next ordinance 1295-03, an ordinance amending ordinance number 1272-03 entitled, an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 206 of the zoning ordinance of the Township of Saddle Brook, creating an affordable housing zone. Motion? So moved. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 1272-03 entitled, an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 206 of the zoning ordinances of the Township of Saddle Brook, creating an affordable housing zone, AH1.
Motion open for vote. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any motion to comment on this ordinance?
Yes. Hold on, President.
With this ordinance is amendment, Carl, the acreage, it says, it reads 1.5, we're changing it to 1.4. That's the change. Yeah, because it's a mistake.
Surveyor there.
1.5 to 1.4.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, this is on 38 Samson Street. 10 Samson Street.
Motion to close? Second. All in favor? Aye.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending ordinance number 1272-03 entitled, an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 206 of the zoning ordinances of the Township of Saddle Brook and creating an affordable housing zone, AH1. It is now passed on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Motion? So moved. Second. All in favor? Aye. Roll call, I'm sorry.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Kugler?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazer? Mr. Rodriguez?
Abstain.
Mr. Sedekis?
Yes. Ordinance number 4, ordinance 196-03, first reading. Bond ordinance to amend in its entirety the bond ordinance number 1286-03, entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the Construction of New Police Department Headquarters in by the Township of Saddle Brook in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $2,100,000, pay the cost thereof, to appropriate a state grant, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriations, provide for the issuance of bond anticipated notes, in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds adopted on August 14, 2003, be passed and adopted on first reading. Motion? So moved. Second? Roll call?
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Kugler?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazer? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Sedekis?
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that a bond ordinance to amend in its entirety the bond ordinance, ordinance number 1286-03, entitled Bond Ordinance to Authorize the Construction of a New Police Department Headquarters in by and for the Township of Saddle Brook in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, appropriate the sum of $2,100,000 to pay the cost thereof, appropriate the state's grant to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds adopted on August 14, 2003, heretofore passed on first reading, and further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 13th day of November, 2003, at 7 o'clock p.m. or soon thereafter, as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street. And at such time and place, all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion? So moved. Second? Second. Roll call?
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Kugler?
Yes.
Mrs. Mazer? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Sedekis?
Yes. Next ordinance, first reading, 1297-03, an ordinance to amend section 120-5 of the Township Code of the Township of Saddle Brook regarding certain fees charged by the Township of Saddle Brook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that an ordinance to amend section 120-5 of the Township Code of the Township of Saddle Brook regarding certain fees charged by the Township of Saddle Brook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 13th day of November, 2003, at 7 o'clock p.m., or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next ordinance, 1298-03, an ordinance to amend section 106-5, Township Code of the Township of Saddle Brook regarding violations and penalties. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that an ordinance to amend section 106-5 of the Township Code of the Township of Saddle Brook regarding violations and penalties, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 13th day of November, 2003, at 7:00 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street. And that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next ordinance, 1299-03. An ordinance to amend section 106-3 of the Township Code of the Township of Saddle Brook regarding handicap parking in the Township of Saddle Brook, the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that an ordinance to amend section 106-3 of the Township Code of the Township of Saddle Brook regarding handicap parking in the Township of Saddle Brook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, heretofore passed on first reading, be further considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 13th day of November 2003 at 7:00 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Township Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless the council member requests it, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. One motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, report, and approval of applications and minutes.
Mr. Chairman, before we have a motion, I would ask the council if they would approve on the consent agenda a resolution that we would send to the Bergen County Community Development to apply for a grant in the amount of $338,000 for phase 3 of the rehabilitation of the Van Bussum Avenue area.
You guys have a motion on that?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
You want to,
I just want to say one thing through the chair if I can. I want to thank John Cook too for getting that money and working on that project. That's money that we can well use in the community, John. Thanks.
thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we also have a resolution, we have to vote separately.
The bill, okay, so, right, so that's the, bill will be full approval, so. A motion?
So moved.
And, we're gonna comment on the light report.
We do the
Yeah,
bill.
let's, okay, we'll vote on this in
We have Mr. Cook as a motion for the bills.
a second. Roll call?
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Kugler?
This is all with the bills, isn't it?
The bills.
Yeah. Yes.
Mrs. Mazer? Mr. Rodriguez?
Everything's like, right?
Okay, yes.
Yes.
Now, the bill list is resolution number 6.
Yes.
So moved.
Second? Roll call.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Kugler? Mrs. Mazer? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, with the same extension of 042383, page 4, vendor A0051.
And Mr. Cedar, please.
Mr. Chairman, before you adjourn, I'd like to make a statement whenever we're ready, please.
Just, we, as the mayor and council is aware, we have one person who was awarded on quotes to make some repairs at 20 Sampson Street, the house. And in his investigation, he has recommended that the picture window, which we thought we would be leaving, be replaced, and screen door, not to exceed, of course, not to exceed $1,500. We have time to put it on for over $1,000. We have to get council approval because he's beginning the work. It makes sense to do it.
Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, if I can, I'd like to make a statement. And I don't want to say coming to work today as I was walking along, something comes to my head, but there are strange things that are happening in Saddle Brook, and I'd like to bring it to your attention and probably even my own attention. For the last 6 or 7 years, the council, the mayor, planning board and zoning board have not been on the same page. And because of this, there has been a lot of speculators coming into town, builders coming into town, excuse me, and most of them are the same ones, and most of them get what they want. And unfortunately, it costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes through litigation. And now the strange thing about this, for the last 6 or 7 months, the mayor and council has been almost on the same page. A little out of tune, but we're almost on the same page. And I want to say the same thing for the planning and zoning board. They've been on the same page. And I really don't know how to say the next statement, but it's something that I've never been in this township where builders and speculators have come forward, and it's only recently, within the last 60 days, they are willing to give us hundreds of thousands of dollars for the privilege of coming into town. Now, I have to wonder, as a very old politician, old-time resident, why this never happened before. I don't know where the money went. And then within the next 60 days, we'll probably be formulating something that will probably be a very important step in the progress of Saddle Brook. And we talk about Van Bosom, and I don't know how many people know where it is. Most people don't even know it's existing in Saddle Brook, but it's probably one of our worst areas within the township of Saddle Brook. And with the efforts of this mayor and council, and when it leaves this mayor and council, it's probably going to go to the planning board, and I'm sure they will be advised of what's happening there. But I am shocked that within the last 60 days, we've had at least 4 major developments, and all of these are new players, not old players, and these people are willing to participate in the upgrading of Saddle Brook with a lot of money. And when I say a lot of money, I'm not talking $25,000 or $50,000. I'm talking in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if this is so, it's going to be a tremendous help to the taxpayer, because this, I don't want to count my blessings before they're here, but it seems like not one contractor, another one, and then another one, and it doesn't seem like it's ending within the last 60 days. And I don't want to say I ask for your prayers, but we need them, because in the next 60 days, this council has to make a report or have a plan in mind to present to the judge pertaining to our Mount Laurel situation. And it's coming in just at the nick of time. It's just like Noah's Ark. Somebody planned for it, that boat is there, and now the flood is coming. And the flood is money coming into town with suggestions and ideas where it didn't happen before. We have a development that came in and took us to court and is putting up, I don't know how many units, and we have to pay the defendants. These people are reversing it. They're paying us to come in. I don't want to go no further because I don't know where we are, and I don't want to tip the apple cart that they walk away from us. But within the next 60 days, or possibly before the next meeting, we'll be able to divulge to you people that are hoping that this come true, that something is on the table, it's concrete, and it's here. And that's what I want to say. It's really good news for Saddle Brook.
Mr. Chairman, if I can, through the chair, and I will be very brief, that the only thing I would like to say is that there are good things, better things, and really good things coming to the Township of Saddle Brook within the next few months. And I'm very pleased, and I'm very thankful for my colleagues who have worked with me. And in a short period of time, we've accomplished so much in such a short period of time. I see nothing but good coming to the township. We are really growing leaps and bounds, and yet maintaining the cost. It takes money to generate money. Ratables will be coming in, and that's a good sign for the Saddle Brook economy. And I'm very pleased, and again, I want to thank my colleagues for working with me and seeing the vision of the future for Saddle Brook. So that's what I have to say to the council. Thank you, Mr. President.
If I may, to the chair, a couple comments. I'm glad to receive after 2 months the budget report with a few changes that I spoke with the CFO has been addressed, and I'm happy to have that report. That report should be right here every single month. For some reason or the other, they skipped 2 months. And now, after talking with him, I believe that he's researching with some kind of software so we can have a better report. But I'm glad that we have it again, and it will guide us for the good of the town, because financially, we will be able to see every single penny where it goes. And I believe that we're moving in the right direction. So now, needless to say, I think that we're doing great, and especially on the area of Midland Avenue. I'm so happy, personally, I'm so happy to see that a lot of changes are happening in my first year, but those changes are for the best of the community. If we keep on working together, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna achieve a lot more. So, to all the residents right there, any concerns, my doors are open, as you've been talking to me, and I just wanna address one issue that I've been talking to them in the last 5-6 weeks. It seems that it's working, the traffic light around 46, and I'm glad that at least it's alleviating. It's not a complete medicine or solution to the problem, but it alleviates the problem. Now, on the last caucus meeting, I just asked what is the status on the traffic light on Market Street and Caldwell Avenue, because I believe there is a big concern about the traffic light coming up there because the traffic is a mess. We're working on it, but unfortunately it doesn't depend directly from us. We have to go through different channels of government, and it's a lot of bureaucracy in the county and the state. So, especially the county, this level is just the county. So hopefully in the next few months we'll have some news for you. Thank you.
I do have some things to discuss with the executive session. And the only thing I just wanted to mention, with what Rodriguez stated before, is just that with the Cablevision ordinance, there was those 2 changes. The copy that's in the packet here doesn't have them. I faxed over a second one, so the one with, it goes to $1 million with the liability coverage, and that they're gonna comply with the new street opening ordinance. I just want that to be on the record.
Okay.
Insofar as, you know, it doesn't contradict their, they have certain fees that they don't have to pay to the state because they're a utility, a public utility. I just wanted that on the record, just so that, you know, we have that.
We're gonna get the amendment, so amended.
Okay, that said, I want to thank everyone for being here. We're going to have to go into closed session.
Whereas the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook desires to meet for the purpose of a closed session to discuss litigation. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act does make an exception, allows the public body to hold closed session to discuss litigation. And therefore be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddle Brook that the closed session take place on October 9, 2003 at 8 o'clock p.m. As soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the municipal building will be closed to the public and the press. And the results of the discussion of the closed session will be released to the public for reasons for discussing act on a closed session.
Motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, the meeting will be closed to the public.
Can I get up now?
Jerry's got one thing he just wants to discuss with the council. Well,